I think Rolly Romero has a decent chance to beat Teofimo Lopez to become the best welterweight in the world. In his last fight, Rolly Romero was able to come out on top as an underdog against Ryan Garcia to win the WBA Welterweight title in a fight that many people thought would be easy for Ryan. Rolly managed to drop Ryan in the second round with a left hook, and from there Ryan became timid and Rolly had full control of the fight, winning by unanimous decision. With this fight out of the way, people didn't really know what would be next for either fighter. It's been over a year since then, and we're seeing Rolly step in the ring with former world champion Teofimo Lopez. Coming into this fight, Teofimo Lopez is the favourite to win, but I believe there is a legitimate way for Rolly Romero to beat Teo and establish himself as a real champion at welterweight. Before we begin, if you like this kind of content, then be sure to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel out. I personally think that going into this fight, Teofimo Lopez is supposed to beat Rolly Romero. He's achieved more in the sport, and in terms of raw attributes, he's ahead on almost every measurable metric. It's clear that the odd makers see it the same way, as he is the favourite going into this fight. So in this video, I'll be exploring how Rolly Romero, the underdog, can win this fight. Let's take a closer look at how he can perform this upset. The first thing Rolly Romero needs to do is use his physicality. Teo has said going into this fight that he will be more focused on being technical and using his jab. This is because Teo is moving up a weight, and because this isn't his natural weight class, he's going to be running into people that are naturally bigger and stronger than him, meaning he can't rely on his physical prowess and needs to outbox them. I believe Rolly is the bigger and stronger boxer because he's had time to get used to the weight, whereas this is Teo's first fight at welterweight. This means Rolly needs to use his strength whenever he has a chance against Teofimo. Whenever they clinch, he needs to lean on him and put his weight on him. He needs to push him back towards the ropes whenever he has Teofimo in a clinch, and he also needs to force Teo to fight at a high physical pace. Rolly needs to test whether Teo can actually deal with naturally bigger opponents, and if he can't, he's going to struggle trying to keep Rolly off him. We've already seen Rolly implement these strategies against Ryan Garcia in his last fight, where he was able to catch Ryan early on with a left hook, which resulted in a knockdown. From there on, Ryan respected Rolly's power, and Rolly was able to back Ryan up for the rest of the fight. Whenever they were close, Rolly used clinches and inside work to limit Garcia's space and neutralize his left hook. He shouldn't see his size difference as a way to bully Teofimo, but as a way to make him uncomfortable. Now that we've established that Rolly needs to use his physicality to make Teofimo uncomfortable, what should he do whilst Teo is uncomfortable to win rounds and potentially knock him out? Well, one of the most important things he needs to do is cut the ring off. Typically, Rolly looks to pressure and come forwards, looking to land power shots and go for the knockout. He's been quite successful at cutting the ring off in the past, but it's important that he really focuses on doing this against Teofimo. Teo loves to make his opponents miss and fires off explosive counters. He's a great back foot fighter, and if he has space, he has options for what to do. It's crucial that Rolly attacks by stepping diagonally across the ring to cut Teo off, rather than following him around, and he needs to trap Teo near the ropes. This is where he'll be in range to punish Teo, and he can use his size to his advantage. It's also important that once he has Teo in this position, he does everything he can to keep him on the ropes. He needs to position his lead foot to limit Teo's exits and needs to make it hard for him to find space. I think if Teo has the space to do what he wants, he's going to be able to control the fight, but if he's getting pressured and smothered against the ropes, he's going to be more uncomfortable and less likely to get off anything significant. He should also try to pressure with his jab, and although Rolly's jab isn't elite, he could double it up or feint with it to disrupt Teofimo's rhythm and use it to set up power shots. Single jabs can be easy to slip, but if he doubles up the jab, Teo might be less willing to throw counters off the first jab because the second one will follow. Whilst being on the inside, he also needs to attack the body. Teofimo relies on explosive movement to perform slips and unique combinations. He loves to circle off ropes, pivot after throwing quick combinations, and explodes in and out of range. Investing early to the body won't stop Teo from doing this, but it will make it more taxing to make these movements as the fight goes on. The best way for Rolly to target the body would be using the jab to the chest, a straight right to the solar plexus, and the left hook to the liver. Teo also has some of the best head movement and reflexes in boxing. If all Rolly does is target the head, Teo will slip or pivot the headshots all day. By targeting the body early, it creates openings to go upstairs later on. Also, the most obvious reason to target the body is that body shots can win you rounds. Rolly doesn't need every body shot to damage Teo. If he is able to build up consistent body work, this will count towards scoring points with the judges and will cause Teo to lose pace from the start of the fight. Over the course of 12 rounds, these small moments of success can add up. One of Rolly's biggest problems in his fights is that he often gets reckless after he hurts someone. That's why he needs to stay disciplined after success. Teofimo is one of the best counterpunchers in boxing right now, so Rolly needs to make sure he doesn't square up so that he can actually absorb shots properly. He can't swing wildly because Teo will see it coming in time to slip and counter or just move out of the way, and he needs to work behind his jab. jab. His aim with his pressure should be to make Teo make mistakes by making him uncomfortable, and when Teo starts making these mistakes, he needs to keep his composure and look for favourable exchanges. We saw Rolly get overly reckless against Gervonta Davis, and in time, Tank was able to slip one of Rolly's wild punches and managed to land a devastating counter to give him his first loss. We did see significant improvement in Rolly's composure against Ryan, where he was able to hurt Ryan early on but didn't rush into making mistakes. He used his early lead to build up a gap in the scorecards and walked away with a decision victory. If he's able to keep his composure against Teo in a similar way, this could turn into a deep chess match where both boxers have to avoid getting reckless. I do think that there's a good chance that Teo may start making mistakes later on, as long as Rolly applies his pressure the right way and doesn't try to force anything that isn't there. Teo is probably hoping that Rolly comes in reckless so that he's able to control the fight by making him miss, and there's a good chance that this is what happens. But if Rolly has a chance at winning, it's only possible if he comes in composed and intelligent. So to recap everything, Rolly needs to get physical from the start. He needs to use his naturally higher weight and strength to make Teo uncomfortable, leaning on him during clinches and pushing him back. He also needs to fight at a physically high pace to keep Teo working so he gets tired later on. He needs to cut the ring off rather than chasing after Teo by using diagonal steps to block his exits and keep Teo trapped near the ropes. This is to limit his movement and force him to stay and trade where he could make mistakes. He also needs to attack to the body early to try and slow Teo down later on, because Teo relies on making explosive movements to attack. This means attacking with the right hand to the body, jab to the chest, or the left hook to the liver. And last but not least, he needs to keep his composure after he has success and needs to avoid getting reckless. This means no swinging wildly and working behind an educated jab to force Teo to make mistakes. Although we've made this plan for how Rolly can beat Teo, I think Rolly has a massive fight ahead of him. It's one thing to plan all of this out, and it's another thing to actually execute it. If he's able to stick to most of this, I think we've got a competitive fight on our hands, and both men will be pushed to their limits. Regardless of how this fight goes, I don't think there's a better fight to make in this weight class at the moment. Both of these guys have such exciting styles and they both want all action. Teo has always had a unique style that's very crowd friendly, and recently Rolly has grown a large fan base because ever since his loss to Tank, he experienced the downs of being a fighter, but he built himself back up to defending a world title against a former world champion. He's also known for being aggressive and isn't the type of fighter who backs down. I'd like to see the winner of this fight go up against the winner of Ryan Garcia versus Conor Benn for a unification fight. I do think that Teo will probably win this fight because he has a high level of experience, and I just think that he's the better fighter, but Rolly could still pull off the upset. How do you guys think this fight will go, and who do you want to see them fight next?